Welcome in on TSL Today. We record today, Monday, November 14th. We want to start today's show by prefacing it with our sincere condolences, our thoughts and prayers to the University of Virginia, their football program, and the city of Charlottesville as a whole. Hokies are with you. It's TSL Today on a Monday. TSL Today on a Monday from the Corporate Research Center here in Blacksburg, Virginia. Hi, everybody. I'm Giovanni Heater, joined alongside Jack Brizendine. And again, we preface today giving our thoughts and prayers to those at the University of Virginia. Jack, it's a tough subject today because, and we don't want to get into it really much in any way, but we just want to preface it by saying our condolences, and that it almost feels a little silly and tough to talk about sports today, but that's our job, and we're professionals, so we're going to get into it and talk about Virginia Tech athletics here. Start out with the wrestling program. Huge meet on Friday night. Went out over to Columbus, up to Columbus, I should say, to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ended up falling in that big time meet. It was the 13th ranked Hokies against the 4th ranked Buckeyes. Final score of that one, 18-13. You, my friend, are a wrestling insider. What did you see up there in Columbus?
Yeah, I think the one big takeaway from this match, despite the loss, was some of the young guys. Obviously, you've got Caleb Henson, who pulled off an extremely unlikely upset over number 2 Sammy Sasso at 149 pounds. It was a really big match. Showed a lot of grit, was able to pull it out 5-3 in sudden victory, which, you know, for a true freshman on the road, that was really impressive. And then you got Tom Crook, who took down Nick Bouzakis of Ohio State, who had a lot of excitement going into this season, and he took him down 14-6. So those are 2 of the 4 wins. Obviously, Mackay got a big win, moved to 2-0 in his career against number 6 Ethan Smith. He actually beat Smith last year in Blacksburg 6-4, and then followed that up on Friday night with a 3-2 victory. So that was pretty big. And then San Latono looked pretty good against number 11 Jesse Mendez, and he got a 3-2 victory. So those were our winners on Friday. Had a couple guys lose, but overall, I thought it was a decent showing. It's a really talented Buckeye team.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, Jack, you and I were talking off air a little bit about Mackay Lewis. You said that, you know, he doesn't necessarily in some ways look like the same wrestler that maybe he once was. And the journey to get back to that point might be kind of a steep mountain due to the injury problems he's had. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think with Mackay, you know, a lot of his wrestling, it might be a lot more technique-based. And, you know, you'll see, like you saw Friday night, just some more, I guess, lower scored matches as he tries to, I guess, conserve some energy and limit risk injury as he progresses through the season in order to, you know, make sure that he's ready to go and can really exert all of his force during March, when that, you know, that's a time for a guy like Mackay where it really matters most, where, you know, you have a shot to win a title, and he's going to put all his chips in his final year and opportunity to do that.
Brizendine, who was ranked for the Virginia Tech Hokies, did not participate in Columbus. What went into that?
Yeah, so there was a report from Mark Berman of the Roanoke Times that Brizendine had a foot injury that he was dealing with and was questionable for this match. Obviously wasn't able to go, so the Hokies sent out Clayton Ulray, who had a really productive year last year. He unfortunately fell to number 22 Patty Gallagher by a score of 14-8, but looked good. You got to think, you know, if Antonian might have wrestled, maybe the score would have been different. It was a one match game final score, just with the Hokies losing by just 5 points. So that is something you kind of think about, but at the end, I guess before the match, it was just a no-go for him.
So what does this mean for Virginia Tech going forward? I think if you win this match, you're a top 5 team in the country competing for a national championship. Is this a setback? Is this a realization of where you are in the national landscape? Or does this really not mean too much so early on in the season that the Hokies are going to be just fine?
I wouldn't say it doesn't mean too much. I will say I think a lot of what Virginia Tech's interest in is in winning and dominating the ACC. I think this doesn't necessarily end your season at all, or it is a little discouraging, I would say, just to see some guys like, you know, Hunter Katka, Hunter Bowen, and Connor Brady lose to some of these guys from Ohio State. But I think that's why you have these big matches, is so that way guys can wrestle against some of the top guys in the country. So that way, by the time March comes around, you've got, you know, the AC tournament and the NCAA tournament. These guys will be ready, they'll be polished, and they'll have been used to wrestling these guys. So I think, you know, unfortunately they weren't able to walk away from Columbus with a win, but I don't think this should be discouraging for them. I think this is a great thing to work off of and learn from as you head into the rest of the year.
What's Tony Roby and this team have to do going forward to kind of make the adjustments and get ready for ACC play and some of the other big matches coming up as well on the schedule?
Yeah, I think it's sort of just taking away what you can from this match. I mean, these are the kind of guys, like I said, that you're going to see in March, and especially down the line. Like, there are a bunch of top 10 wrestlers for Ohio State, and those are the kind of guys that make it far down the line in March. So I think just sort of going back, looking at what went right, looking at what maybe didn't go so well, and just sort of, smoothing those edges as you go through the year. And that's what this whole regular season is about. In wrestling, the main goal is March. And so for these guys, just sort of working their way through the year and developing and fixing the things that are ailing them, that's what the goal is. So I think you can still take that away from this match, and that's what I think the program will do.
If you had to kind of identify a dark horse on this team, or somebody that's really stepped up and exceeded expectations, a young guy on the roster, I think I know who the answer is, but who would it be?
Yeah, obviously you got to go with Caleb Henson. Came into the match on Friday night ranked number 27 and took down number 2, Sammy Sasso, whose younger brother is actually committed to Virginia Tech, Sonny Sasso. But yeah, Caleb Henson's victory was just kind of showed everyone that he's capable of being at that level. Sammy Sasso was runner-up in 2021 at 149. He placed top 5 last year. So, if a guy coming as a true freshman like Henson can not only stick around with a guy like Sasso, but actually beat him, that's a pretty good indicator of how good this kid can be. So I would definitely pick him as a dark horse candidate to go really far this year.
All right, Virginia Tech is back in action in the Keystone Classic in Philadelphia this upcoming Sunday. And then after that, they have the Cliff Clean Las Vegas Invitational. That's going to be the weekend of December 2nd and 3rd. Then you got Missouri, Stanford, Cornell. There's a lot of tough teams on this schedule, so it definitely doesn't lighten up for the Hokies. How stoked is Hokie Nation right now to see some big-time matches for this team?
I think it's awesome. I think
it's a tight-knit community, I think the wrestling fans.
It definitely is. And I think that, I talked to Tony Roby about that earlier before the season. And, he was really excited to talk about these matches because I think he understands that, these matches for a fan base that loves wrestling so much, these are the best you can get. So, having Missouri come to Blacksburg, having Cornell come to Blacksburg, having NC State return back. I mean, these are high-quality wrestling matches that I think a lot of these diehard wrestling fans of Blacksburg are really excited to see, and it's almost just I just think it's really good wrestling, and I think it's a good treat for a fan base that's been very loyal to the program. All
right, no doubt about it. Like we said, Virginia Tech wrestling back in action in the Keystone Classic from Philly on Sunday, November 20th, this upcoming Sunday. All right, we're going to take a short break here on TSL Today. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit of football, the loss in Durham, North Carolina to the Blue Devils just a couple of days ago. He's Jack Brizendine. I'm Giovanni Heater. This is TSL Today on a Monday from Blacksburg.